And hello everyone, welcome back to another nim tutorial. In this tutorial we'll be taking a look at the exception handling in nim. Let's import std strutils. Then let's say we have parse int and let's echo that out just for interest's sake. Now when we run this, we get this error here. Well, we don't get any error here. When we try and run this, we get an error because this right here cannot be parsed into an integer. A is a string and a string alone. However, the code still runs. So if we go echo test, you'll notice we get test and then we get an error. This is known as a runtime error. You get a couple types of errors, but the ones you need to know most would be runtime and compile time. So runtime errors, as the name suggests, happens during the program runtime, whilst compile time errors happens when the program is compiled. Usually nims in IntelliSense will tell us if there is a compile time error. For example, if I try to do this, it will tell me, hey, this isn't going to work. So it can see that here will be a compile time error because the compiler will notice we cannot put a string inside of single quotes because that would be a character. However, compile time cannot figure out that this will be wrong because it doesn't read the value we pass in here, only the type. So here, it won't see anything, but when we run it, we'll get this error. Now, there's a way we can get around this. We can say try and accept. Now, let's first just do normal accept here. And let's put this here. Now, the idea is we're going to try to execute this line of code. If an error happens, we should do something here. So try, but if an exception occurs, do this. So here we could say echo, oh no, error. If we run this, we get oh no error. Now the reason this is useful is because when a runtime error hits us, so if we just run this normally, and here we then try echo hello, you'll notice that once a runtime error is hit, the program quits. And a lot of times this is not what you want. If an error occurs, you don't want the user that is running the program to see this. You either want the program to go on or to display better error message. But if we try this try except here, then you'll notice the program never stops running. So it will continue running while we're doing this. If you wanted to stop running, you could always exit the program in except here. But if you don't want it to stop running, this is a great way to do it, like a web server. You don't want a website to go down if one person accidentally made an oopsie. You want the website to stay up for everyone. Thus, you should have a lot of try and accepts, and you make sure the website stays online. Now, what if you want to get the error message? Well, then you can just say let e for error, but you can give this any type of variable name, is equal to get current exception. And this will get the exception. So you'll notice here, this is of type exception. And in here, we could of course go e.msg for error message. Now if we were to run it, it will also display the error message for us. So here, error invalid integer a. However, if you don't want to store it in a variable, you could also just go get current exception message. And I will of course get the current exception message. Now if we run this, it will do the same thing, but this time you don't have to store it in a variable first. Depends on what you want to do. Now oftentimes you want to catch an error depending on its value. In this case, it will catch any sort of error. It doesn't matter what type of error it is, it will catch any of them. But in this case, it throws a value error. So in this scenario here, it would actually be better to go accept value error as e. So we'll get the value error and store it inside of E. This method here is an alternative way if you don't want to store it like this. So if you don't want to store this value inside of E, then you can always go let and store it using the method we used, get current exception. But if you have this, then we could go here and say, oh no, or even value error, and then something like can parse string in variable a or whatnot. And then here we can say message, and it's the same syntax. All we have to do is just say e.msg, and boom, Bob's your uncle. There we go, value error, message, invalid integer a. So here it threw a value error, and it's simple to see how we can fix it. Now we go up here to know what error you're going to get. When you don't use a try and accept, it will actually show you what error you get. So we go to the previous output, you'll notice when we didn't use try accept, it showed value error. And that's how you can get the error message that you should try and accept here. But it's also a good idea to have another accept here, just in case some sort of error that you haven't planned for happens. So this will catch any and everything else. And here we can just say echo unknown error. And now it will get any other error that is not a value error. So if something happens here and you don't get this, it will go to this here. And then of course, if you wanted to do more, you could of course go except and then whatever other error you want to put here. So there's key error, value error, field error, index error, like index error as E. And you can of course do the same thing. Now I can say, hey, there has been an index error as such. In this case, it seems index error has actually been deprecated. So in this case, I believe we should use index defect. That seems to work. But yeah, so that is how you can do it. So you can catch individual ones, and you can catch all of them that does not fall into this here. Now you might be wondering, okay, but what if I still want to do something, even if I get an error? Or even if I don't get an error, doesn't matter which one. Let's say we have a file. So if our users is of type file. Now if open users.txt, so if we open up the users.txt file, and it is open, we can try and do a bunch of things. Let's go like that. In fact, let's try and parse users.readLine. So we're going to read a line, and we're going to try and parse it, but that will probably not be possible. So we'll get a value error. Now here, we can add a finally. Now when you hit a finally, you can basically do anything. Whether you get an error or whether you do not get an error, this finally will always execute. So we can say close users, because we would still want to close this users file. Now of course, in most cases, you don't even need a finally, you can just do this. But let's say you do not do this exception here, so any exception can happen. Then in that case, this finally will still execute before the entire program terminates, making this finally incredibly useful because you will still close the file. Because if you were to try and put this closed file here, it won't execute because this will cause an error. So it won't go to the next line. So finally here, you can at least make sure the program or the file will close. And we can even go echo closing file just to see how it works. Now let's go here and create users.txt. And we go hello. Now if we were to run this, here we go. So we get value error, message invalid integer, hello, closing file. So even though it caught this error, it still closed the file. So even if I were to remove this value error catch here, and I were to run this here, you'll notice we still get closing file. Even though the program terminated because we don't have an accept to handle this, it still made sure to close this file for us because this finally will run whether there is an error or not. And only once this finally has completed running, then it will break out of the program and show us the error. Alright, now that we know the basics of try and accept, let's use them a little bit more. So let's say we have a variable a, and that should be a var, and variable a is equal to try parse int, and actually let's import str utils again, and now we have parse int, and we try to parse int 1. Now trying to do this will actually cause an error, so we can say except, so if an error occurs, any error whatsoever, just make it -1, and finally echo variable was assigned. Now finally here is optional, but the idea is we're going to try and assign this value to a. If an error occurs during the process of trying to sign or save this value in a, then we're going to run this exception here, and that's just going to return -1. Finally, it won't return anything, but it will run this piece of code for us, and this is all in one line, just to make it nice and easy. So now if we try and echo a, and we run this, we get variable was assigned and -1. But if we were to make this 2 here, then you'll notice now we have 2. So if an error occurs, use this one. If it doesn't, use this one. And as I said, finally is optional. If I were to remove that, nothing would change. And of course, you don't need all of this in one line. If we do this, then all we need to do is indent it. And now it will be part of this try and except here. If we run this, then we get the same value, or the same output. This is actually a very nice feature because a lot of times you want to assign a value to a variable, and in other programming languages you will need to wrap this entire variable inside of a try-catch block. But in this scenario, Nim makes it so easy that you literally assign a try and except to this variable, and that will provide you with a value. And for now, I think that is good enough. In the next tutorial, we'll be going deeper into exception handling, creating your own custom errors and whatnot. But for right now, I think this is good enough, where we know the basics of using try, except, and finally. Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all again in the next Nim tutorial.